The sky burned like fire. Bright orange light covered the stars. Explosions shook the black sky above Earth. A massive alien ship, shaped like a blade, tore through the clouds. It was falling fast, broken, and burning. Inside that ship, Varkan, a tall alien warrior with dark red skin and sharp silver armor, crawled through smoke. His arm was bleeding, his face covered in black ash. The sound of alarms screamed in his ears. Sparks flew around him. His ship was dying, and so was he. "Command, this is Varkan," he shouted in his deep alien voice. "Anyone alive?" Static answered him. No voices, no orders. Just silence. He grabbed onto a steel bar as the ship shook again. Outside the window, the planet Earth was growing closer and closer. "Too fast. This can't be how it ends," he whispered. "Not like this." He looked down at the broken bodies of his crew. Warriors, friends, all gone. Burned or crushed in the crash. Varkan didn't cry. His people didn't cry. But something inside him broke. He felt it. The ship hit the ground like a hammer. Dust and fire exploded in every direction. Darkness took him. Hours later, a cold wind blew through the trees. Leaves danced in the air. The forest was quiet, too quiet. Somewhere in that forest, hidden under broken trees and metal, Varkan opened his eyes. Pain, so much pain. He gasped, rolling onto his side. His armor was cracked. His shoulder was bleeding. One of his legs was crushed under a piece of the ship. He pushed it off with a growl. "System," he whispered. His helmet flashed weakly. Life support, 12%. Power core, destroyed. Communication, offline. No way to call for help, no way to go home. He tried to stand, but his legs shook. He limped into the trees, leaving a trail of dark alien blood behind him. The forest was strange. Tall trees. Thick fog. Cold air. Earth. He had trained to fight humans, to destroy their defenses. But now he was alone, wounded, and hunted. He heard something. A rustle in the trees. He turned fast, raising his blade. Nothing. Just wind. But he knew better. Something was out there, watching him. He limped faster, hiding behind a tree. His vision was blurry. He was losing blood. His body was failing. "This planet will kill me," he muttered. "Just like the Reapers killed my squad." He fell to one knee. His vision faded again. Then he heard footsteps. Slow. Careful. Human. He reached for his blade but dropped it. Then a voice. Calm, soft, human. "Hey, don't move. I'm not here to hurt you." Varkan growled. He looked up, weak and dizzy. A figure stepped from the trees. A man, tall, with short black hair and a dirty jacket. A rifle hung on his back. His hands were open, no weapon drawn. Varkan tried to speak, but his mouth was dry. The man stepped closer. "You're not from here," he said. "But I've seen worse. Let me help." Varkan bared his teeth. "Stay back." The man didn't move. "Look, you're dying." "I have supplies. Shelter. You want to die here, fine. But I'm offering you a chance." Varkan blinked. No tricks? No attack? He fell again. The last thing he saw was the human reaching out a hand. Sometime later, Varkan woke up slowly. He smelled something strange: wood, metal, and smoke. He was inside a small cabin. Broken walls. A fire burning in the corner. Simple tools and supplies on a wooden table. He was lying on a mattress made of old clothes. His wounds were wrapped. His armor placed beside him. He looked around, confused. Then the human returned. "You're awake," the man said, setting down a bowl. "Took me an hour to drag you here." Varkan sat up quickly, but winced in pain. "Relax," the human said. "I'm Eli. What's your name?" Varkan didn't answer. "You speak English, right?" Slowly, Varkan nodded. "Basic. Enough," Eli smiled. "Good. Makes things easier." Varkan stared at him. "Why? Help me?" Eli shrugged. "You looked like you needed it." That's not human logic, Varkin said with suspicion. Eli chuckled. Maybe I'm not a normal human. He handed Varkin the bowl. Soup, simple, warm. Varkin smelled it, then drank slowly. His body felt warmer. He looked around the cabin. You live here? Sometimes. Used to be a ranger station. Now it's mine. Varkin touched the bandages. You treated my wounds. Yeah, you're lucky. Your leg was close to infection. Had to burn the wound shut. Varkin nodded. Painful, but clean. Eli sat on a chair. So what were you doing here? You and your people came to attack, right? Varkin looked away. No longer matters. They're dead. I saw the wreckage, Eli said quietly. Nothing left. Silence. Then Varkin spoke. My name is Varkan. I was part of the Varnet Blade Legion, elite force. Sounds important, Eli said. We were sent to clean Earth, Varkin admitted. Eli didn't react. And now? Varkin looked at the fire. Now, I'm alone. The next day, Eli checked his supplies. Ammunition, food, water barely enough. Varkin was already awake, sitting near the window, watching the trees. Expecting someone? Eli asked. Something, Varkin said. I felt it last night. We're not alone. Eli loaded his rifle. I figured. Varkin stood. Still weak, but stronger. Eli gave him a staff made from metal pipe. Until you're strong enough to fight again. Varkin took it with a nod. Then they heard it. A howl, low, unnatural, not a wolf, not a machine, something else. What is that? Varkin asked. Eli looked pale. I call them reapers. Varkin's eyes narrowed. Impossible. Reapers were in space. They couldn't have reached Earth. Well, Eli said, they're here now. Suddenly the door shook. Something heavy hit it. Both grabbed weapons. The wall cracked. Red eyes looked in from the dark. Then, a reaper smashed through. Tall, black skin like armor. Long claws. No face, just teeth. Varkin swung the staff. Eli fired his rifle. The creature screamed, but kept coming. Together, they pushed it back. Hit after hit. Finally, Eli shot it in the chest. It fell, silent. Varkin looked down. That was a scout. There will be more. Eli nodded. Then we move. First light, that night. Varkin sat by the fire, armor beside him, repairing what he could. Eli watched him. You're not like the others, Eli said. Most soldiers I knew didn't talk much. I was raised to obey. Not to feel, Varkin said. But you helped me fight today. Eli pointed out. Varkin was quiet. Then he said, I saw you risk your life. For a stranger. No logic. Just choice. That is not weakness. Eli smiled. Glad you're learning. Outside, the wind blew harder. Trees creaked. Varkin looked out the window. Tomorrow, he said, we begin a new war. The forest was quiet again, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of silence that made your skin crawl. The kind that came just before something terrible. Varkin stood at the edge of the cabin, holding the metal staff Eli had given him, his. Wounds were healing slowly, but the pain in his legs still burned. He didn't complain. He just stood there watching, listening. Inside the cabin, Eli cleaned his rifle and checked his ammo. We'll need to leave before sunrise, Eli said without looking up. The Reapers usually hunt at night, but daylight won't stop them. For long, Varkin nodded. Your weapons are weak. Alis smirked. So is your ship. For a second, they just stared at each other. Then both gave a small smile, something strange. But real. They were not friends. Not yet. But something was beginning to change. The journey begins as the first light of morning touched the trees. They left the cabin behind. Varkin had put on parts of his damaged armor, just enough to protect his chest and arms. Eli carried a backpack filled with supplies, maps, and a battery-powered scanner. They didn't talk much as they walked. The forest was full of tall trees, thick roots, and fog that refused to lift. The air was cold and damp. How far? Varkin asked. There's an old military outpost, Eli replied. A few miles west. Might have tech, food, maybe answers. They walked for hours in silence, only stopping once to drink water from a stream. Varkin watched the forest carefully. This place is alive, watching us. Eli raised an eyebrow. You feel that too? Varkin nodded slowly. Yes, the Reapers. They are not animals. They move with purpose. Campfire talks that night. They made camp near an old stone wall, possibly the ruins of a small earth house long forgotten. A small fire crackled between them. Eli heated a can of food. Varkin chewed on dried alien rations he had saved in metal pouch. Your food smells worse than mine, Eli said. Varkin looked at the can in Eli's hand. Yours looks like mud, Eli laughed. Fair. For a moment, things felt normal. Like two soldiers sharing war stories. But then the silence returned. Varkin finally spoke. Why did you help me? Eli looked up. I already told you. That is not a real answer. Eli stared into the fire. His voice turned soft. During the invasion, I lost people. My brother. My team. I saw civilians begging for help. I couldn't save them all. I still hear their screams sometimes. Varkin said nothing. Eli looked at him. When I found you lying in the dirt, bleeding, broken, I saw the same thing in your eyes. The same fear, the same pain. Varkin slowly nodded. I did not fear death. I feared dying alone. Eli looked surprised. Then nodded too. Same. They didn't speak again that night. But the silence wasn't cold anymore. Signs of the enemy. The next morning, they reached a broken road covered in moss and vines. A rusted car sat in the middle, doors open, long abandoned. Eli held up his scanner. It beeped. Energy signature. He said, old tech. Might be from the bunker. Or a trap, Varkin added. Probably both. They followed the signal through the trees and found an entrance covered by rubble. It looked like a bomb had exploded here years ago. A faded sign on a steel plate read, Level 7 Command Bunker, Access Restricted. Eli pushed aside some rocks and revealed a door. It opened with a groan. Inside was dark, dusty, smelled of rust and time. VRRR. Ken turned on a light from his armor. Eli clicked on a flashlight. They moved slowly. The halls were narrow, walls covered in dirt and wires. Broken monitors blinked faintly. The whole place felt dead. Then a sound. Scraping. A whisper. Something moved in the dark. Eli raised his rifle. Varkin gripped his staff. From the shadows, a creature jumped, but it wasn't a Reaper. It was human. The stranger, the girl, was maybe 20. Her hair was short, her eyes wide with fear. She wore a dirty lab coat and held a pipe like a weapon. Don't come closer, she shouted. We're not your enemies, Eli said, stepping back. We're just looking for shelter. She looked at Varkin. Her hands shook. You brought an alien? Are you insane? He's not the threat right now, Eli said firmly. The girl stared at them for a long time, then lowered her pipe. I'm Dr. Lena Maris, she said quietly. Biotech researcher. Or I was. Eli lowered his weapon. Eli, and this is Varkin. Lena looked at the alien. He shouldn't be alive. I saw your kind fall from the sky. We thought Earth was doomed. Varkin didn't answer. She led them deeper inside the bunker. Most rooms were destroyed, but one lab still had power barely. Screens blinked, showing old data. Lena typed quickly on a panel. This place used to study alien tech. Years before the invasion, she said. Somehow they knew something was coming. What happened to the others? Eli asked. They tried to fight the Reapers when they first arrived. They failed. I hid here. Varkin studied the screen. Show me Reaper data. Lena clicked again. A 3D image showed a Reaper bigger than the one they killed earlier. Its body was black, but parts of it glowed red. There were notes written in English, hive behavior, spreading underground. Weak to sonic pulse. They're evolving, Lena said. Faster. Smarter. Varkin stared at the image. We're not like this in space. They've changed. How? Eli asked. Lena looked serious. Because they're using human and alien DNA. Silence filled the room. Night attack that night. They blocked the entrance and took turns keeping watch. Eli sat near the door, rifle in hand. Varkin stood by a vent, listening. Lena lay on a mattress, reading notes from a tablet. Then something banged on the door. Once, twice, then silence. Eli stood quickly. Get ready, he whispered. The door burst open. 3 Reapers charged in fast, deadly. The room became chaos. Varkin swung his staff, breaking a Reaper's leg. Eli fired shot after shot. Lena screamed and threw a metal rod at one creature. They fought hard. Blood, screams, smoke. Then it was over. 3 bodies lay on the floor, twitching and dead. Varkin leaned against a wall, breathing heavy. Eli wiped blood from his face. They're not stopping. Lena looked shaken. They tracked your scent, or your tech. Varkin nodded. Then we must move, tomorrow. New understanding as dawn broke. The 3 stood outside the bunker. Eli scanned the map. There's a city about 30 miles north. Maybe survivors. Maybe more labs. Lena checked her backpack. I'm coming with you. I won't survive here alone. Varkin said nothing. He just watched the trees. Then he spoke. You risked your life. Why? Lena looked confused. Because I want to live, and because I guess I still believe in something better. Varkin looked at Eli. You both help without gain. That is strange to me. Eli smiled. You'll get used to it. They walked in silence for a while. Then Varkin said something that surprised them both. Maybe we are not enemies anymore. The road was cracked and forgotten. Broken signs pointed nowhere. Nature had taken back the land. Vines wrapped around old streetlights. Trees grew through cars like they were bones from a dead world. Varkin, Eli, and Dr. Lena Maris moved slowly through the ruins of what was once a proud city. Dust clung to the air. Glass crunched under their feet. The wind howled through empty buildings. This place, Eli said quietly, used to be full of life. Varkin said nothing. His eyes scanned every shadow. Lena pulled her jacket tighter. The Reapers were here. You can smell it. They turned a corner and found a collapsed bridge. Beyond it, the city skyline stood like broken teeth, black against the gray sky. Eli sighed. We're close to the signal. The scanner picked something up, high energy, not Reaper frequency. Varkin raised an eyebrow. Human tech? Maybe. Eli said, maybe not. The signal. They climbed down into the wreckage of the old bridge and crossed a dry riverbed. Varkin moved in front, his armor making low metallic sounds. He walked with purpose, but every few steps he stopped to listen. Then came a sound, faint, electronic. A beep-beep sound. Lena pulled out a small device. It's here. The signal's coming from under that building. They looked at a half-fallen tower. Most windows were shattered. Graffiti covered the walls. Reaper claw marks too deep and fresh. Eli looked around. We go fast, in and out. They entered the tower carefully, flashlights cutting through. The dark, inside, old papers flew through the air. Desks and chairs were thrown everywhere. Dried blood stained the floors. Lena pointed to a steel door in the basement. Signals coming from in there. Eli checked the handle. Locked. Varkin stepped forward, gripped the door, and with one strong pull, clang, ripped it open. Dust poured out. A hallway stretched ahead. Dim lights blinking weakly. They entered. Strange discovery inside the underground bunker. Cold air touched their skin. Machines lined the walls. A blue glow filled the room. Lena's eyes widened. No way. A large glass tank stood in the center. Inside it floated a creature, humanoid, half human, half-alien. Its skin was pale, but its eyes glowed red. Long claws, strange metal implants in its arms. Eli stepped back. Is that a Reaper? No, Lena said. It's a hybrid, but it's sleeping. Varkin looked closer. This was created, engineered. A terminal next to the tank showed logs. Lena read out loud. Project Omega, weaponized fusion. Goal, build soldiers using alien DNA to fight Reapers. Eli swore under his breath. They tried to make monsters to fight monsters. And failed, Varkin added. Suddenly, the tank began to shake. The creature opened its eyes, red, burning. The room's lights blinked rapidly. Run! Varkin growled. They turned to escape. The tank shattered, glass and liquid flew everywhere. Hybrid screamed. They escaped the hallway filled with flashing lights and alarms. They ran as fast as they could. The hybrid charged after them, faster than anything they had seen. Varkin turned and slammed it with his staff. It barely flinched. Eli fired 3 shots into its chest. It stopped. Snarled. And kept coming. Go! Varkin shouted. I'll hold it. No! Lena screamed. But it was too late. Varkin stepped forward, eyes glowing with fire. His warrior instincts kicked in. Every part of his broken body screamed in pain, but he didn't stop. He swung hard once, twice. The hybrid growled, slashing back. Then Eli reappeared, boom, a grenade in hand. It exploded near the hybrid, sending it crashing into the wall. They didn't wait. They ran up the stairs and back into the ruined city. Behind them, the creature roared, but didn't follow. Camp in the shadows that night. They found shelter in an old bus, half buried under dirt and vines. Lena sat quietly, staring at her hands. That thing. It was us. It was made from humans. Your people feared extinction, Varkin said. So they made weapons without honor. We're not all like that, Eli said. No, Varkin agreed. You are not. They sat in silence. Then Eli looked at Varkin. Back there, you were ready to die. Why? Varkin didn't answer at first. Then, because I was born to serve, to win battles. And when that's gone, I don't know what I am. You're more than a soldier, Eli said. Am I? Varkin looked away. Maybe I am now, because of you. New plan the next morning. Lena woke them early. I decoded more data from the bunker. There's another site, bigger, a research base hidden under the mountains, Project Corfire. What is it? Eli asked. She showed a map. It was Earth's last hope. A fusion reactor, a lab, and something else, some kind of alien signal. Array. Varkin's eyes narrowed. Signal? Yes, maybe the source of the Reaper's call. If we shut it down, maybe we can stop them, or at least slow them. Eli nodded. Then that's where we go. It was risky, far, dangerous, but they had no choice. They packed supplies and moved out. The Watchers on their way. They noticed strange signs, skinned trees, burned ground. Dead animals, no blood, just empty bodies. Varkin stopped. We are being followed. Eli scanned the area. I see nothing. They are smart, Varkin said. They don't show themselves until it's too late. That night, while resting in a metal storage container, the air turned cold. Too cold. Then they saw it. A Reaper larger than any before. Its body pulsed with red light. Its arms long and sharp. It didn't attack. It just watched. And vanished into the dark. They're hunting in packs now, Lena whispered. They're learning. Eli gripped his rifle tighter. We don't have much time. Trust earned the next day, while crossing a ruined highway. Eli tripped and fell down a slope. A sharp metal rod cut deep into his leg. Blood poured out. Eli! Lena shouted. Varkin was already moving. He lifted Eli with one arm and carried him to safety. Lena cleaned the wound, but Eli was weak. Leave me, he said. You two go. No, Lena said. Agreed, Varkin added. I did not leave my allies. Eli smiled weakly. You just called me an ally. Varkin nodded. Strange. How war makes enemies into brothers. They rested that night in silence, side by side. Arrival at Corfir after days of travel. They reached the mountain base. It was hidden behind rocks, covered in vines. The scanner blinked rapidly, energy levels high. Varkin studied the ground. Tracks, Reapers have been here. Lena opened a control panel. I can get us inside. The doors opened slowly, revealing a dark tunnel glowing with soft blue light. Inside, the air buzzed with power. Machines hummed. Screens still worked. Lena smiled. There's hope. The core is still active. Eli stood slowly, legs shaking. Let's shut that signal down. But just as they stepped forward, the lights turned red. An alarm screamed. And from the shadows, the hybrid returned, faster, stronger. Eyes burning, claws dripping. It had followed them. And now it had evolved. The underground base was alive with light and sound. Machines hummed in every corner. The air tasted sharp and electric. The power core of the mountain thrummed beneath their feet, its energy pulsing like the heartbeat of a giant beast. Varkin, Aylin, and Dr. Lena Maris moved quickly through the maze of hallways. Their faces were tense. Every step brought them closer to the source of the alien signal, the source of the Reaper's strength. This place feels wrong, Lena said softly, her eyes scanning broken screens. Like it's waiting for something. Waiting to kill us, Eli added, limping but alert. His rifle stayed ready in his hands. Varkin gripped his staff tighter. We are close. Stay sharp. The hybrid returns. Suddenly, the shadows shifted. The hybrid appeared, faster and stronger than before. Its eyes blazed red, muscles bulging. With power. It growled a low, angry sound and charged. Varkin stepped forward without hesitation, blocking its strike with his staff. The hybrid smashed with claws, tearing metal and concrete. Eli fired. But the hybrid moved too fast, dodging bullets like a ghost. Lena ducked behind a console, shouting, We have to disable the core. That signal controls them. Varkin grunted as the hybrid landed a blow to his side. Pain exploded in his ribs, but he held his ground. Go. I'll hold it off, he yelled. No, Eli shouted. We're a team. Varkin's eyes glowed bright with warrior fire. Then fight beside me. Together, they battled the hybrid. Varkin's staff struck hard. Eli's shots were sharp and true. The hybrid screamed in rage, but slowly it began to weaken. Then, with one final strike, Varkin slammed his staff into the hybrid's chest. The creature collapsed, the core chamber breathing hard. The team pushed deeper into the base. They reached the core chamber, a massive room filled with swirling blue light. In the center was the heart of the base, a huge glowing orb of energy, surrounded by cables and machines. Lena hurried to the control panel. I can shut down the signal, but it will take time. Ayla watched the doors nervously. How long? Minutes, Lena said. We don't have much. Varkin looked at the orb, sensing something wrong. This is the source. Destroy it, and the Reapers lose their control. Lena nodded. Exactly. Defending the core no sooner had Lena started the shutdown process than alarms blared through the chamber. The walls shook. Reapers poured in, dozens of them. Their black bodies glistened under the blue light, eyes glowing red. Eli fired as Varkin swung his staff, cutting down the first wave. Lena worked faster, her fingers flying over the controls. Almost there, she said, sweat running down. Her face. The Reapers advanced. More and more. Varkin fought with all his strength, his body screaming from earlier wounds. Eli covered him, but his leg was slowing him down. We can't hold them much longer. Eli shouted, Keep fighting. Lena cried. Sacrifice. As the battle raged, Varkin saw something. A group of Reapers was moving toward a secondary control panel, a backup system. If they activate that, The core won't shut down, he realized. Eli. Lena, protect the panel. He ordered. They nodded. Varkin charged into the swarm, his staff a whirlwind of strikes. He knew this might be the end. The Reapers clawed and bit. Pain exploded in his side. Again, but he pushed forward. With one last powerful swing, he shattered the backup console. The Reapers screeched in anger. Varkin collapsed to his knees. The shutdown. Lena's fingers moved faster. Almost done. Ales supported Varkin, holding him up. The core's glow began to fade. The Reapers stopped attacking, their movements slower. The blue light dimmed. Then silence. The signal was gone. Aftermath. The base began to shake. We need to leave, Lena shouted. They ran through collapsing tunnels. Rocks fell behind them. Outside, the mountain rumbled and cracked. They barely escaped before the whole base exploded. A giant fireball lighting the sky. New hope. The three stood watching the smoke rise up. The Reapers' control was broken, but the war was not over. Varkin looked at Eli and Lena. We survived, Eli smiled weakly. Because we fought together, Lena nodded. We have a chance now. Varkin placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. Together we are stronger than any enemy. The sky burned with fire as the last remnants of the core exploded behind them. Smoke curled upward, dark and thick, blocking out the stars. The mountain rumbled like the roar of a great beast waking from a long sleep. The battle to shut down. The alien signal was won, but the war was far from over. Varkin, Eli, and Dr. Lena Maris stood on the edge of the ruined mountain base, looking out over the wasteland below. The Reapers had lost their command signal, but now they were wild, dangerous, and more unpredictable than ever. The calm before the storm. For a brief moment, the three felt relief. Eli winced, still feeling the sharp pain in his leg from their escape. Lena wiped dirt and sweat from her brow. Varkin's breathing was heavy, his warrior spirit bruised but not broken. We did it, Lena said quietly. Eli gave a tired nod. But this isn't the end. Varkin looked toward the horizon, where distant fires burned in the night. The Reapers will come, angrier. Without their signal, they will attack everything. Every human, every city. We must prepare. Fragile alliance. The three moved quickly. They sent messages to scattered human survivors and alien allies. If the Reapers wanted war, then humans needed to stand together. It was time to unite old enemies and form new alliances. At a hidden camp deep in the forests, they met Commander Rhea, leader of a group of surviving humans who had been fighting alone for years. Rhea was fierce and tough. She didn't trust Varkin at first, a warrior from an alien race, carrying old wounds and ancient grudges. You fought with the Reapers before, she said, voice cold. Varkin looked down. I was lost, but now I fight with you. Rhea studied him, then nodded slowly. We have no choice. The Reapers destroy everything. Preparing for battle. Over days and nights, the camp buzzed with activity. Weapons were repaired, supplies collected, and plans made. Eli trained new fighters, showing them how to use energy rifles and grenades against Reaper armor. Lena worked on strengthening communications and hacking enemy systems. Varkin taught them ancient fighting techniques, how to move with speed and strength, how to use their minds as weapons. It's not just about firepower, he told them. It's about heart, about courage. The Reaper threat grows. One evening, scouts brought terrible news. A large Reaper force was moving toward the camp. They are hunting us, Eli said grimly. We must stand, Varkin said. This is our last chance. The camp prepared for battle. Walls were reinforced. Trenches dug. Fighters readied weapons. The battle begins at dawn. The ground shook as the Reapers came. Hundreds of black shapes emerged from the forests, their red eyes glowing with rage. Varkin led the defenders, his staff glowing with energy. Eli fired rifle shots. While Lena coordinated the fighters, the first wave crashed against the camp's defenses. Explosions rocked the air filled with screams. Turning the tide at first, the humans struggled. The Reapers were fast and brutal. Many fighters fell, but Varkan fought with the strength of 1,000 warriors. His every strike sent Reapers flying. Eli covered him, picking off enemies from afar. Lena's quick thinking helped disable Reaper communication, causing confusion. Slowly the tide turned. Sacrifice and victory as the battle reached its peak. Varkan saw the enemy leader, a massive Reaper, larger and stronger than any before. It charged at him, claws ready to strike. They clashed with a terrible force. The warrior's body was pushed to the limit, but Varkan's spirit did not break. With a final blow, he struck down the Reaper leader. The remaining enemies faltered, then fled. Aftermath: the camp was battered but victorious. The survivors cheered. Varkan looked at Eli and Lena, tired but proud. "We stood," he said simply. "Together we survive." Eli smiled. "This is only the beginning." Lena nodded. "The fight will continue, but so will hope." A new dawn as the sun rose. The wasteland looked less empty. The people, humans and aliens, were ready to rebuild. And Varkan, once alone and broken, found new purpose. The last stand was won, but the war for the future was just beginning. The war had paused, but only for a moment. The battlefield was quiet now. But Varkan, Eli, and Lena knew the peace was fragile. Their victory came at a cost, and the Reapers were still out there, hunting, waiting. In the quiet, shadows from the past began to stir. The strange signal one evening. While the camp rested, Lena's scanner picked up something unusual. "Varkan, Eli, come look at this," she called. They gathered around the glowing screen. A faint signal pulsed, old, but alive. Eli frowned. "It's not Reaper, not human." Varkan's eyes narrowed. "Alien?" Lena shook her head. "I don't know, but it's coming from deep inside the ruined city near the coast. We need to investigate," Varkan said. Return to the city. The ruined city was a ghost from the past. Tall buildings broken by war. Streets cracked and empty. Silence hanging heavy. As they approached the source of the signal, memories returned. "This city was once a place of peace," Lena said softly. "Before the Reapers." They moved carefully, weapons ready. Suddenly, the signal pulsed stronger. The hidden vault in a forgotten subway station. They found a hidden vault. The door was sealed tight, but Lena quickly hacked the system. The door creaked open, revealing a chamber filled with old technology, machines that hummed softly, strange symbols glowing on walls. At the center stood a console with a flashing message. "Lena, read aloud. Warning, do not activate. Contains memory data of the ancients." Eli looked curious. "Who are the ancients?" Varkan stepped closer. "Long ago, a powerful alien race lived here before the Reapers. They left knowledge behind, maybe even weapons." Awakening. The past. Lena carefully activated the console. A hologram flickered to life, a tall figure, shining with light, spoke in an unknown language. Then, the hologram switched to images, stars, planets, battles, and a warning. "The ancients tried to stop the Reapers once," Lena translated. "But they failed." Eli stared at the images. "If they failed before, what hope do we have?" Varkan said quietly, "Hope comes from trying." A new weapon. The console revealed a plan, a weapon hidden deep beneath the city. A device, powerful enough to destroy the Reaper's core, but lost for centuries. "We have to find it," Lena said. Eli nodded. "It might be our last chance," Varkan agreed. "Then we must move fast." Danger below. They descended into the ancient tunnels beneath the city. Darkness surrounded them. Strange noises echoed. The walls were covered with alien symbols glowing faintly. Suddenly, Reapers attacked, hiding in the shadows. A fierce fight broke out. Varkan's staff struck hard. Eli fired carefully. Lena hacked a door open. And they escaped deeper underground. The lost device in a hidden chamber. They found it. The weapon. It was a glowing orb, surrounded by machinery. Lena studied. The controls. It needs power. Can you start it? Eli asked. She nodded. If we find the energy source. Race against time as they searched for power cells. The Reapers followed closely. The base shook with explosions. The walls cracked. Varkin felt the weight of history on his shoulders. They found the energy source, a crystal pulsing with light. Lena connected it to the weapon. The orb glowed brighter. The final choice. The weapon hummed with energy. But Lena looked worried. It will destroy everything nearby, she said. We must be sure. Eli looked at Varkin. Is this worth the risk? Varkin thought of his fallen friends, the cities destroyed, and the future they wanted to protect. He nodded. If it can end the Reapers, we must try. Activation. They activated the device. Energy spread through the tunnels. The Reapers screamed in pain. The core's power began to fade. The city trembled. Escape. The tunnel started to collapse. They ran through falling debris, dodging deadly obstacles. Varkin held the weapon close, shielding Lena and Eli. They barely made it out as the city shook violently. A new dawn outside. The sun rose over the horizon. The Reapers' strength was broken. For now, Varkin looked at his friends. This is only the beginning, he said. But together, Lena added, we will fight. Eli smiled. For the future. The world in silence. The skies were no longer filled with Reaper ships. The dark clouds that once rolled across cities were now broken by golden sunlight. It was quiet, not peaceful but quiet. Varkin, Eli, and Lena Maris stood on a ruined rooftop overlooking the remains of the coastal city. The ancient weapon they activated had destroyed the Reapers' local hive. Their core was gone and their numbers had dropped, but something still felt unfinished. This doesn't feel like a true ending, Eli said, loading his rifle. Lena nodded. It's not. The signal may be gone, but some Reapers still move, scattered, angry, wild. Varkin's eyes glowed faintly. He could feel it too, a presence in the shadows, something darker. Something still alive. The Queen, he whispered. She survived. The final threat across the ocean, in the icy lands of the north. The last command center of the Reapers still operated, deep underground. From there, their leader, known only as the Queen, controlled what remained. Lena intercepted a faint transmission. The Queen was calling the remaining Reaper swarms to her. She's rebuilding, Lena said. If we don't stop her, she rise again, stronger. Eli narrowed his eyes. Then we go there. End it. Forever. Varkin placed his hand on Eli's shoulder. One last mission, one last fight. Journey into ice. The team gathered all they could, supplies, weapons, and volunteers. Small human camps joined their cause. Even a few aliens from other destroyed worlds came. Hearing of Varkin's rebellion, they traveled north, across mountains, freezing rivers, and lifeless lands. As they neared the Queen's fortress, the cold grew stronger. Machines covered in frost stood like frozen giants. The sky above was dark and empty. She's buried deep, Lena said, waiting. They entered a hidden cave, which led to a tunnel, black and ancient. Machines hummed inside the walls, some still alive after centuries. Then they saw it, a gate made of bone and metal. Behind it, the Queen. The Queen awakens. The Queen was massive, twice as tall as Varkin. Her body was made of twisted armor and living flesh. A crown of glowing crystals pulsed with energy on her head. She did not attack at first. She watched them. You think you've won, she said in a voice that echoed through their minds. You are nothing, just dust beneath my thoughts. Varkin stepped forward. You are a shadow of what once ruled, no more. The Queen's eyes glowed red. Then come, let us end this. The final battle. Reapers crawled from the walls. Hundreds, maybe thousands. The humans and aliens fought with everything they had. Grenades, lasers, blades. The air shook with fire and fury. Eli fought beside Varkin, taking down Reapers one by one. Lena moved through the chaos, reaching a control panel on the Queen's platform. "I can overload her neural core," she shouted. "But I need time. Do it." Varkin roared, charging at the Queen. They clashed. Her claws slashed through steel. His staff struck like thunder. Each hit from Varkin burned with the pain of his past, the loss of his people, his shame, his rebirth. Each hit he gave was for humanity, for Earth. The Queen's fall. Lena screamed, "Now!" Eli fired his last explosive round into the Queen's chest. At the same moment, Varkin leapt high and drove his energy blade into her crown. Massive blast erupted. The Queen let out a deafening scream and fell, all across the battlefield. The Reapers froze, then collapsed. Gone. The cost of victory. Smoke and silence followed. The team stood among the ruins. Many were injured. Some had fallen. Eli limped, blood on his face but alive. Lena sat on the cold floor, exhausted. Varkin, wounded and barely standing, looked at the remains of the Queen. "It is done," he said softly. Eli smiled. "You were right. Together we win." A new future. Weeks later, the world began to heal. The skies cleared. City started rebuilding. Varkin stood at a human memorial. Statues of humans and aliens stood side by side. He gave a speech to the survivors. "We were enemies. Now we are brothers. The war was long, but hope never dies." Eli and Lena stood beside him, watching as people from different worlds came together. The warrior's choice as peace settled across the planet. Varkin was offered a high seat in the new alliance, but he refused. He walked into the wild lands, his weapon on his back. He wasn't seeking power. He was seeking balance. He became a guardian, watching, waiting, protecting. A legend among humans, a symbol of second chances. Final words. The world remembered him not as an alien, but as a friend. As the warrior who fought beside humans and gave them hope reborn. The end.